Hi, welcome to Chapter 8 of my audiobook, Pirates of Savannah. Please consider buying the commercial-free version or making a donation at the link below. Thank you. Enjoy the chapter.
Chapter 8, Fort Mose, Liberty and Honor. The Freemans approached their home in a hushed walk so as not to disturb the closing ceremonies of Tomochichi's burial. Archibald and Patrick went back to the shed so Archibald could hide his Scottish broadsword he was wearing for the ceremony. The men froze when they heard a loud crash inside the shed. The master blacksmith drew his large broadsword, while the apprentice grabbed an extinguished torch to use as a club. They stood close, and Archibald threatened,
"Come out with peaceful intent, or I will run you through."
Movement and a hushed conversation could be heard in the shed. "Come out! Present yourself in front of me now, or I will raise arms," the angry blacksmith demanded. Slowly, a crying black woman stepped out of the shed with open palms. She was followed by a skinny African man, who also presented his open palms. He quickly explained in a nervous voice,
"I be very sorry. We just be searching for scraps of food. We done been robbed by boat agents and not eaten a thing in days, sir. Please, mister, we still know where's. Just let us be on our way."
"Sit down," Archibald commanded as he pointed his sword. The nervous colored couple sat on the stumps for splitting wood outside the shed.
"Go take inventory of the shed, Patrick. See if they be speaking true,"
the smith instructed. An uneasy truce was called while the apprentice searched the shed loudly. This attracted the rest of the Freemans, who watched in shock from the back door of their home. "Good sir, I find nothing amiss," Patrick reported.
"Marion, could you bring me that basket of apples we have in haste?"
the powdered wig man asked his wife. Marion offered the basket to the shaking couple. "Here, relax."
"I'll give you as much food as you desire, but in return, I want you to tell me your real story. Your fresh shackle bruises tell me your possessions were not taken by road agents. You two are runaways, or I am a fool," Archibald offered. "My name be Alec, sir, and this be the wife Gloria. It true, we be on the run from Charlestown."
The black man stopped to bite into the apple. Heather and Marion took seats as the tension relaxed. "Tell us more, Alec," Heather prodded.
"We from the kingdom of Congo, and our friends and family be forced into service. Many of us from there. One of Cato's slaves, Mr. Jemmy, stirred up a lot of trouble for us. We was treated much worse than all the other slaves we know. The beatings were very bad. 20 of us slaves rise up and be going from the Ashby River. It be north of the Stono River. A few of us be soldiers and start making weapons from anything we find on the way," Alec boasted. "We kept going south and the news spread. We liberated about 60 slaves from their harsh masters."
Archibald looked dismayed.
"How many white masters did you kill?" "We took revenge on 20 of the white devils and took their things and weapons," he said with dismay. "The militia from the Carolinas caught up with us at Edisto River, and a great battle took place. They killed 44 of the slaves. We killed 20 of the white devils. The survivors went running, but the militia hunt them down. We be the only ones left, I think. Please, good sir, I never killed any of the whites in those battles. I don't have it in me. That is why we have no weapons, and we run fast. Those were all evil men, and deserve to meet the devil,"
the fugitive slave pleaded.
"Please, let us go on our way and forget we be here."
The Freemans looked at each other with concern as Archibald spoke sternly.
"We need to discuss this. Do not think about running."
The patriarch then handed his sword to Patrick and told him,
"If he starts motioning, stick him."
The young smith watched the slave couple cry and shake as the Freemans were judging their fates. After a passionate and lengthy discussion, Archibald returned.
The Scottish have been terrorized and enslaved in sorts by the British for as long as I can remember. I sympathize with your plea for freedom, Archibald grimaced. But you put my family in grave peril by staying here. What are your plans for flight? We have no ideas. Maybe run as far into swamp as we can so nobody can ever find us, Gloria replied. What if I told you there's a place where you can be safe and free? Archibald questioned. No such a place I know of, Gloria stammered. There is a place you can be free. It's called Fort Mose. It is a settlement the Spanish set up to anger the redcoats. The Spanish made it a haven for escaped slaves to encourage British slaves to run and raise arms against the British as free men, Archibald exclaimed in hushed tones. The couple stared at the wigged Smith in disbelief. It's true. The fort was founded last year. It is a little north of St. Augustine in the Floridas. A Creole man runs the fort. I once did some unmentionable business with him. He is named Francisco Menendez. I'm telling you this because I have no love for the English or any government ruling over people with force. It is a great risk to my life and family. I would be branded a traitor to England and hung from the gallows, Archibald warned. We be blessed with this knowledge. If you draw us a map, we leave at nightfall. We owe your family our lives, and would never speak of this to anyone, the colored couple sincerely promised. Alec and Gloria spent the rest of the day quietly eating and drinking upstairs in the small house. Late into the night, Archibald saw them off. Here, take all these apples and this skin to hold water. Here's a dirk for Gloria and an axe for you. Keep these hidden until you made your way past Darien. Those in Darien would likely kill you on the spot for having Scottish weapons. If you get caught in Darien, beg for your life and tell them to give this note to William McIntosh. The two fugitive slaves' eyes were wide. After Darien, the real danger falls on you. You have to pass through the English, Spanish, and Indian deer hunting territory. It is a large zone where hatred is set aside to make silver. You two would be good bounty to the wrong kind of person, so stay silent in the marshes. You need to be invisible in this and only travel by moonlight. Pray no savages or British find you, or that'll be the end of your lives. Keep steady south, and you will find Fort Mose. Good luck, and may the wind be at your backs. Gloria and Alec were taken with tears at the generosity and said their goodbyes. They quickly disappeared into the night, quiet as mice. Patrick was enjoying the cooler air blowing in, and even the sand gnats and mosquitoes had slowed their assault for his blood. He was trying his hand at forging an axe head, and was making fine progress on it when Archibald interrupted him. Lad, it's about time me and you go have a drink. He instructed his daughter to bring them rum. The two men sat under the dogwood as Heather appeared with the bottle and mugs. She looked around cautiously and then poured the rum into the mugs. Ah, lad, here is some of the forbidden nectar of the Caribbean. Let us enjoy our sins against Oglethorpe, Archibald mocked. He continued, Lad, I put you in grave risk when I helped those Negroes. When we thought that bastard Kingsley was going to ascend on my daughter, you came to my family's aid without question. You have given me the truth of your nefarious past, so it is time you learn the truth about me. Feeling comfortable with Patrick and the rum, the master blacksmith let his brogue come out. My real name be Duncan, and I am from the clan McIntosh from Iverness, Scotland. Life for my family was hard and miserable. We never owned anything. The damn English took so much it kept us in squalor. I grew up a blacksmith like my father before me. He wanted me to leave that hopeless life, and when the English outlawed Scots carrying weapons, he saw an opportunity. He learned to make muskets, blades, axe, and small shields called targs. He enlisted me help, and I quickly grew competent in weapon crafting. My father made a fortune, but so much trade brought the eyes of the British on us. Because of this scrutiny, he gave me all his monies to go out and resupply our shop. One day I came home. My father and me mother were hanging from our tree, and me siblings met their deaths by fire inside the home, burned alive by the British soldiers.
His eyes filled with tears as he confessed,
It was a message to our town about what happens to arms dealers who defy His Majesty. I immediately became a wanted man and was hunted. Me clan was outraged and demanding a reckoning. I talked them out of a war with the lobsterbacks. I would not let them spill the blood of my community and clan. Me clan smuggled me to Savannah with money from me father to start a new life. A few from Darien know my true self, but I take on British mannerisms for safety. I change me name and me voice to protect those around me. I concede to live this way until I can escape the English warrant for me.
So are these your birth children? Patrick questioned in surprise.
No, I met Marian and her family when she arrived in Savannah in the Lord's year 36. She was married to a Spanish trader who played both sides of the war, but he was executed by the Spanish for selling stolen arms to the British and the savages. So her family's not welcomed in the Spanish colonies or Indian territory. We be a family of outlaws, trying to make enough money to get away from any government. We needed each other, so our marriage was a good fit. The redcoats ignore her warrant because her husband sold so many guns to them.
Patrick sat stunned and speechless. He then put a comforting hand on Archibald's shoulder and promised, I'll take this secret to the grave. And I wish there was a place that existed without some authority ruling over our freedom, my friend.
Do you, lad? Well, I've got one more secret you might want to know. There are many others who feel this as us. A whole underground network.
He smiled as he sipped on his illegal rum. Will you teach me to make muskets and pistols now? Patrick inquired.
His Royal fucking Majesty's men do not get alarmed when I make simple blades, but they do not allow me to make muskets for anyone but their soldiers. I'll teach you, but if you're careless, it ends with all of us swinging in the wind. We can only make them when no eyes be watching. Have you ever noticed it takes me weeks to fix a long firearm or a pistol? Working under the guise of fixing a redcoat's firelock, I'm allowed to secretly make another one in plain view without suspicion, Archibald taught. So now we hang together, my friend. You're invited to a secret meeting 2 fortnights from now. I hope you'll join with others who feel the same as you about governments, Archibald offered.
Patrick nodded his head in acceptance as Archibald finished.
Oh, one last thing. It is no good making all these weapons if you can't use them. Tomorrow we go hunting in the swamps.
The firelock blinded Patrick with smoke as it went off. He coughed and rubbed his eyes.
Oops, I forgot to mention. You have to keep your eyes closed and hold your breath when you fire.
Archibald and the twins howled with laughter.
Maximilian, did he hit the pine?
No, father. Maximilian shook his head. I can't find a shot anywhere.
Let us not try to waste that shot. It's hard to get metal in Savannah. Try to find it. Now, Patrick, hold your breath and stabilize it better with your shoulder.
Archibald smiled.
Now show me how fast you can load, lad.
Everyone clear out of the way. I'm loading, Patrick called out to the twins. Patrick had practiced the procedure repeatedly without ammo all morning, hoping it would become second nature. He pulled the charge out of his deerskin pouch. It was a shot in gunpowder carefully wrapped in a paper to fit into the barrel easily. He then detached a ramrod from underneath the barrel and pushed the charge all the way down to the bottom. He returned the ramrod, moved the flint to half-cock position, and then opened the flash pan. He then sighted the large pine 50 paces away and took careful aim. He lined up his feet and his shoulders as Archibald instructed, held his breath, and lined up the sights again. He closed his eyes and held his breath and slowly squeezed the trigger. A loud crack could be heard as the flint struck the mizzen. The powder ignited in the flash pan and moved into the chamber. A large cloud of smoke covered Patrick, and the paper wad flew out the barrel. When the smoke cleared, he took a deep breath, opened his eyes, and asked with anticipation, "How'd I do?" "Father!" Amos shouted. "He hit it!"
"Fantastic, lad. It took me days before I ever hit anything. You need to fire 10 more to get the feel for Marion,"
Archibald said with pride. "You named your flintlock Marion?" Patrick queried.
"Of course, lad. It's bad luck not to name your weapon after your sweetheart. You really don't know a damn thing about fighting."
Archibald laughed. Patrick practiced all morning and hit 6 out of the 10 of his shots with the musket before switching to Archibald's antique Queen Anne dueling pistols. The pistols were wildly inaccurate. Even at 15 paces, Patrick could only hit the tree 3 out of 10 times.
"You boys go and dig out that spent shot out of that pine. We need the metal to recast," their father commanded.
The men went shooting the entire week under the guise of being bad hunters. Patrick improved greatly. Archibald even showed him some basic knife and broadsword skills before his shooting lessons. Once in a while, one of the twins would bring back game he had hunted while Patrick was getting his lessons. They were excellent hunters for such a young age. Both boys had learned to shoot a bow from a savage friend of theirs and were becoming deadly shots. One morning in November, Maximilian helped his brother hobble to the front door. His foot was bleeding badly. "What in the Lord's name happened?" Marion exclaimed. "Heather, fetch your father immediately." Amos grunted in pain. "I stepped on a bloody oyster shell and it sliced me good. Heather, go fetch that Jew doctor. Hurry." Amos's foot started to bleed less, and in short time Dr. Nunes and Isaac Schwartz were tending the boy's foot. Patrick had missed seeing his Goliath friend, and once Amos was tended to, they caught up. Patrick showed Isaac the broadsword he was making, and Isaac showed Patrick the exotic plants he had in his medical bag. Dr. Nunes watched the exchange and finally said to Archibald, "Why don't I stay a while and visit your family? I'd be happy to check for all your ailments. Be nice to let old friends talk." Archibald nodded his head in agreement and then showed him Maximilian's forearm.
"See the worm moving right next to the skin? It is growing and is almost half the length of his forearm,"
Archibald pointed out. "Oh, Mr. Freeman, you need to call me sooner. If you wait a few months longer, the damn African worms come right out of a blister. It will burn like hell and cripple your boy. We need to take this worm out right now. Let me get my worm stick." He returned with a knife and a small stick with a hole dug in the center of it, and explained, "We have to cut enough to put an end of the worm through the hole in the stick. Then we need to tie it off." The doctor then cut a small nick, and blood rolled from the brave boy's forearm. Everyone gathered around to watch as the doctor threaded the large white worm through the stick. While nimbly attending to his work, Dr. Nunes spoke, "These damn worms are all over lately. I think they came over with some of the slaves in the Carolinas, and now they're everywhere." After a few moments, the doctor stated, "Okay, I got it tied down. Only give it a half turn a day. Any more will break and kill the worm. If this worm dies in your son, his forearm will become septic, and it'll make him very ill. Do not overturn the stick. Do you understand?" Dr. Nunes warned, "Now, son, continue to hold your hand on that laceration until it clots." Archibald then took the opportunity to show the doctor a rotting tooth and asked his opinion. Patrick and Isaac were laughing, reminiscing about the vanishing Seamus, when Patrick froze in mid-sentence. Isaac watched as his best friend's face lost its color. 2 well-dressed men were standing over them. "You there, go fetch your master," the tall aristocrat demanded. Patrick stood up and continued to stare at him intensely. "Are you dumb or deaf? Go fetch your master or I'll have him beat you," the tall man pushed on. Isaac quickly sensed something was very out of sorts with Patrick and waved Archibald over. Patrick began to close the distance between himself and the 2 men when his employer stepped in his way and stated, "I'm the blacksmith here. How can I help you?" "Oh, yes. I need a very small hammer made. I'm a jeweler just come in from London, and I seem to have misplaced my hammer." "Can you draw out the size you need with a piece of paper and a quill?" the blacksmith responded. "I can do my best, good sir. The aristocrat then took the quill and the piece of paper. "I'm Archibald Freeman. Can I ask your name?" Archibald asked as the tall man busied himself drawing the dimensions of the proposed hammer. Dryly, the aristocrat announced, "My name is Mr. Potts, and this is my associate, Mr. Edgington." Patrick pushed past Archibald and smacked the paper and the quill out of Potts' hand. "We won't help you here," Patrick snarled. "Now get the fuck out." The entire group was stunned by Patrick's extremely unusual behavior. Archibald tried to step back in, but Patrick pushed him away. "I said get the fuck out," Patrick screamed. "Mr. Freeman, you might want to control your hammer monkey before Mr. Edgington buries his blade in his chest," Mr. Potts threatened. Tension grew in the small house, and everyone was standing on toe. Patrick then spit a large ball of mucus into Potts' eye and screamed, "Fuck you, and take that with you." Patrick's accuracy had benefited from hours of spitting competitions in the prison. Everyone stood stunned and mortified. None believed what they were seeing. As all the eyes were watching in disbelief on Patrick and Mr. Potts, Mr. Edgington skinned his blade, but Potts urged him to hold. Patrick now took his time to build a large amount of phlegm in his mouth before sending it flying across the distance and landing on Potts' chin. "Get the fuck out!" he shrieked. Potts then wiped his face, closing the distance between himself and Patrick. As he was closing fast, he was suddenly smacked in the face with Patrick's deerskin smithing glove. The entire room watched in awe as the glove hit the floor and lay at Potts' feet. Potts stopped in his tracks and looked at the glove, then looked back up at Patrick with a moment of fear. "Pick it up," Patrick demanded coldly. Isaac tried to pull Patrick back, but the challenge had been made. "Fucking pick it up, you coward," Patrick growled. Potts hesitated and was terrified as he looked into the rage-filled eyes of his opponent. "I want to know your name first before I accept your challenge." "I'm Patrick Willis," Patrick hissed. "You stole my life, disgraced my father, and you're the reason I was in debtor's prison all these years." Marion and Heather simultaneously gasped in shock. Potts stopped and examined the younger man closer. "Ah, yes. Mr. Edgington, don't you remember this boy who was nice enough to donate those stones to you all those years ago?" Mr. Edgington smirked. "Right, boss. I had forgotten. Hey, lad, how's the face?" Both men laughed as Patrick flew at them in a rage. Isaac then quickly grabbed his friend and was only barely able to overcome Patrick, pinning him against the wall and holding him back. "Well, lad, those stones of your father's were shite," Potts said mockingly. "I'd to practically give them away." Mr. Potts slowly bent over and picked up the fallen glove and informed, "I guess I'll have to end your whole rotting bloodline and accept your challenge. Stupid boy, I have come out victorious in 4 duels in my days." "Very well. Single combat at daybreak on the deer-hunting road to Darien. Meet me under the thunderbolt tree outside of town to avoid any legal complications," Mr. Potts challenged. "You're a fucking child. Were you not already gelded, you'd do it at noon. Dawn is for cowards," Patrick bit back. "Then a single combat duel at noon. Your death will be devoid of mist and fog," Patrick amended. "Fine," the aristocrat answered. "I will take your life in clear sight, boy." Isaac pulled Patrick's other glove off and threw it down at Edgington's feet.
"He does not accept single combat. Do you second?"
Isaac questioned. The crowd looked on in amazement. Mr. Edgington laughed. "This man wants to meet his Jewy god. I will hurry his wish." Mr. Edgington laughed as he picked up the glove. "I've killed many more men than Mr. Potts. I will enjoy this opportunity to send another Jew back to hell." As the arrogant man took their leave, Patrick continued to hold Isaac against the wall while the enraged man continued to scream in anger. After a few moments, his rage waned and led to tears. Isaac was able to release his upset friend, and the entire Freeman family came to Patrick and hugged him. They held on to him tight as if they knew this would be his last hours on Earth.